on this computer. Okay, here we go. So I think I've got this. Private here. I'm going to stop recording for a minute to just close that window. Try and do this so it's anonymous. Okay, so I think I'm good. I don't think anybody can see anybody's names. Okay, so the trick with the regression is you're going to decide what's the explanatory variable, what's your response variable, what is your x's, what is your y's. In this case, they're trying to make the case that the number of cups of coffee has an association with the number of people he irritates. Okay. So we have to, when you're doing this with tech, you got to make sure that you put your x variable, your explanatory variable on the left, the response variable on the right. Most programs want that. Then there's a lot of ways to do this regression equation. So one way is write in a spreadsheet, and Google Sheets in particular. I can insert a chart, and I can change. It didn't pick up. Oh, you know what I got to do? Just a minute here. Let me undo what I just did. If you select the data, you could have done it the other way too, but this makes it easier. Select the data, and often Google Sheets is smart enough to figure out, oh, you want a scatter plot. This time it wasn't. It thought I was doing a line graph. So I got to make sure I do a scatter plot. And there we go. That's the scatter plot for this data. We notice that they call this, you see the way it's stacked, like I have 2 3s, 2 1s, 2 3s, 2 4s. This is called granularity. Not that it matters much, but that's why we see it stacked like that. I see a negative association. I think it's it looks linear, it looks fairly strong. So I think it's okay to create a linear regression equation. Of course, they want us to do that anyways, but so what you can do is you edit here. Let me get this out of the way. What you do is you can customize, and let's see if I remember how to do this. I think you do legend. Yeah, I think it's under legend. And what we can do is you can do, no, somewhere here that talks about, it's a minute here. I gotta remember how to do this. I just did it this little while. No, it's not that. Here, let me pause this video. You do series. So you do that drop down and see. So yeah, let me come back. So it's actually, let me just come back, setup. So I'm going to customize. I'm going to go to series. I'm going to scroll all the way down until I see, oh, I want to add a trend line. And I think it's linear. So I'm going to have that trend line. And then I want to show R squared. And then the label, I'm going to use the equation. I want to show R squared, and sure enough, there's my regression equation. Now, is this enough decimal places to make my open math happy? That's another question. Sometimes they want more than 2 decimal places. So, but we do see R squared. That's nice. If you're asking me to find the correlation, I can take the square root of R. So why didn't I do that since I'm here making this video? If you ask me for the correlation and you're doing this with the spreadsheet, what you got to remember is the correlation and the slope of the line will be the same. So since the slope is negative, the correlation will be negative. So if I do the square root of 0.6969 and get that answer, I know I've got to go with a negative because the negative correlation has to associate with the negative slope. Okay. But that's not what my open math question was asking. It was asking me to come up with the regression equation. And here we go. Here's that regression equation. Now, I think they had R and N. I don't remember what they did, or maybe P of N. So you have to play around with whatever variables you're looking at. But there's the slope, and there's the Y-intercept. Now, there's another way to do this too. And of course, I've pointed you out to Rossman Chance so many times, you're going to get so sick of that website, but it does a lot. I'm going to select that data. I'm going to do a new tab. I'm going to go out to Rossman Chance. And it is the least squares regression. Let me clear all of this. I'm going to clear the data that's there. I'm going to paste in the data. I'm going to use the data, and lo and behold, there's a scatter plot. I still see a negative association. And what you can do is you can scroll down and see where it says show regression line. And there's a regression line with, again, with two decimal places. There's a correlation coefficient R. Here's R squared. Kind of helps you to show that almost 97% of the change in the number of people he irritates is directly caused by the change in the number of cups of coffee he makes. And then 100 minus that is the percent as being unmeasured. So, I mean, what is that? Is that point, or is that's, let's see, that would be 90, sorry, the end of a long day. So 100 minus 96.9, so what is that? 3.1% of the change in the number of people he irritates is due to some other factor, some lurking variable that we haven't addressed. Okay. So there's Rossmann-Chance method. I'm trying to think, is there another way that I've got right handy? And there's all kinds of other applets. If you don't like Rossmann-Chance, you can go find something else and they'll all do it. The spreadsheet works well. On the spreadsheet, I mean, if MyOpen Math is looking, or WebAssign for that matter, is looking for more decimal places, what you can do is do it this way. And I think I've done this on another video, but I'll do it here. So here's the slope. This is just for me as a human. And here's the Y-intercept. Again, that's for me as a human. I mean, that's if I could spell correctly. Y-int. Here we go. And the way you get the spreadsheet to do this, you do equals, you type the word slope, and Google is this, or Excel is the same way. But what you got to do when you're doing the slope, you have to select the Y variable first, to output the response variable first, then put a comma, then you select the X variable, and there's the slope. No, I don't want to autofill that. Do you see how that's the same as what the spreadsheet gave us and what Rossmann-Chance gave us, except it's got a few more decimal places? And to do the Y-intercept, you do equals, Y-intercept, Y-int, no, you do intercept. Intercept. You start spelling out intercept. And again, you can do the Y variables first, comma, the X-intercept, the X variables. And there, notice that agrees with the Rossmann-Chance, just with a few more decimal places, or the spreadsheet. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to do it. I'll save this and put this in, I'll say this MOM regression. I don't know what it's called. I don't know which problem it was. Okay, so that's how you find the regression equation. And what I do like about the spreadsheet version, and even the Rossmann-Chance version, instead of using X and Y, do you see how they say people hat? So the predicted people and the X variable of the number of cups of coffee. And of course, that's what I put in. One caution with this applet, you make these one-word titles, or if you're going to do more than 2 words, like you would say, underscore cups of coffee or something like that. If you put it in separate words, separate lines, see how it adds that in. If you break it up to double words, like just put a space there, it messes it all up. And see, it doesn't understand what I've got in there. So you got to either use just 1-word things, or if you want to have 2-word things, make sure you use some kind of punctuation between it. Underscores, dashes work better. Okay. I'll stop this video and get it uploaded.